Okay, so we are live now.
Perfect. It looks like we're starting to see some people trickling in. We'll be starting in just a minute or two. We're going to give some time for folks to make their way onto the webinar, but welcome to Branded 2020, the first ever online edition of Branded. We're so happy to have you. Again, we're going to get started in a minute or two, just giving everyone a chance to trickle in. Stay tuned.
This is where, who was it the first day, the first session that gave us a nice little song as we're waiting for the attendees to come in?
We need some waiting music.
I got some if you want.
Oh yeah?
It's just instrumental. Let me see if
please, by all means.
It's just
Kim, are you gonna put on a fire background in the background? Maybe a nice little fire in the back?
I know, right? Wouldn't that be so perfect? Can you hear it?
Not waves though.
I can hear it.
Yeah. Hear it.
Perfect, like waiting music.
This is the music I work to. I know it's crazy, but I'm into like black coffee, and it's like one of my favorite DJs.
Okay, I think we are gonna get started here. I'm sure that more people will continue to trickle in as the evening goes on, but we want to respect the time of everyone who has come here on time, 6 o'clock on the dot. Welcome to Branded 2020. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We have a really exciting session scheduled for you. For all of you who have joined us throughout the week, you've seen sessions on financial planning, you've seen sessions on the Black Entrepreneurship Fund, you've seen our keynote speaker, you've seen sessions on social media marketing and getting your business right online. And today we have a really special and unique session where we're bringing back some of our pitch competitors from past Branded events to talk to us about pivoting. During this time of COVID, there are so many people who have had to pivot. And we thought, what better way to kick off our online version of Branded than to bring back some of our Branded veterans to talk to you about their experience. And if you've never attended Branded, if this is your first time, then maybe I should give you a little bit of a taste of what Branded is all about. Branded is an annual event that invests, connects, and levels up Black newcomer and most vulnerable youth entrepreneurs. We've invested over $100,000 in youth businesses through pitch contests and contracted services. We've connected youth to guided networking sessions, industry experts and mentors, and we've leveled up businesses. This is the 6th edition of Branded and a very special one, the most accessible Branded that we've had so far because it's online. And today I'm so excited to introduce you to our host for the evening, Kim. Kim Niles is a bold, eccentric, luminous, versatile catalyst for positive change. And she is the founder of Self-Love Youth and MakeYourMark.ca. Kim, a mobilizer and unapologetic acclaimed host, is known for boldly exploring taboo conversations that promise to provide insight and ignite your potential. With that, I'm gonna pass it over to Kim so she can kick off this fireside chat and really get the conversation flowing. Over to you, Kim.
Thank you. First of all, I'd say thank you to Branded for having me back again this year, hosting this very meaningful conversation on resilience. Resilience is one of those things, it's an experience that is not often spoken about because of fear, shame, rejection. And oftentimes just loneliness. Like when we're going through anything that is going to make us stronger, we usually tend to feel lonely. So before, I would really like to thank our panelists for coming on tonight and sharing your stories, as we really take everyone through a really introspective journey as to how we're all coping in this current season and how we've pivoted. So let's start with introducing our superstars. So my number one superstar I have first here is Jaleesa Mendez. Welcome, Jaleesa, from Tony Marlowe. Jaleesa is a young, ambitious entrepreneur and the founder of Tony Marlowe Clothing, an innovative, inclusive clothing brand that aims to serve the queer community and those that feel underrepresented in the fashion industry. A community builder and leader, Jaleesa is passionate about social change and looks forward to all opportunities to give and receive knowledge. Welcome, Jaleesa. Next up, we have Johan Perez. I hope I said that right, Johan, from Renewly. Johan, born and raised in Toronto, is an energy consultant and founder of Renewly Solar with 6 years of experience in his field. Renewly Solar is a consulting and project management team that helps Canadian owners navigate through the transitions of switching to solar and a more sustainable future. Johan is proud to be pushing the needle by being one of the few people of color in an industry that lacks diversity. His mom, who taught him about perseverance and hard work, inspires him daily. In his free time, he loves to do drone photography, travel, and read. Welcome, Johan. Deandra Monte from Empress, Maine. And you guys could see her. She's sitting on that Empress chair there. Deandra Monte is a well-versed Black woman who cannot be boxed into one category. In addition to her many entrepreneurial ventures, Empress, Maine places a heavy responsibility on her shoulders. To the plain eye, Empress, Maine is an online beauty supply prioritizing women of color and providing top-tier hair care products. But the task depolicying and unpoliticizing Black hair is a fight happening all over the world. In an industry where Black people own less than 1% of the market share, Dee takes her position seriously and is determined to create a safe space for education, confidence, and inevitably change. Welcome. Ruth from Beauty and Brushes. Ruth Asir is a serial entrepreneur. Ruth and her co-founders attended last year's pitch competition, pitched their beauty platform, Beauty and Brushes, and won. She's also the co-founder of a newly launched platform called the Masterclass of Beauty, an e-learning platform that connects expert beauty professionals to students. Welcome to the platform, Ruth. So I'd like to get into it. I'm excited. I did some research on all of you, and I've got some really good questions that I'd love to ask. But what I'm first going to start off with is I want you to tell everyone a little bit about your journey to Branded, and then maybe just a little bit about your business as well. Jaleesa, I'm going to start with yourself.
Okay, so my business itself, I went to, leaving university, I was doing a program. It was entrepreneurship was the major in my business degree, and I was done with the first business I had, which was tech. And I was like, I don't really want to get a job. So, I looked at, I was working, but I didn't want to get a job. So I looked at all my ideas, and then, Tony Marlowe was the most timely. People were starting to talk about, gender neutral clothing, transgender issues, and all these types of things. So I just decided to move forward with that. And honestly, the whole journey has been mostly, one good connection connecting me to somewhere else, and like magic happening along the way. And that's also part of Branded. I was in a program at BizStart. It was a very, very difficult year, which I know you know very well, Kim. Check out Make Your Mark for the full story. But, it was a really difficult year. I was in BizStart, which is a great program put on by Youth Employment Services. And the program leads, I had been missing for a couple days, not missing, but I wasn't in class for a couple days. When I came back, they were like, yo, you got to apply for this. And my friends were like, you have to apply for this. And it was due that day in a couple hours. And I was like, okay, I'll do my best. And I applied, and I was lucky enough to get through. And it was just a great experience. It's just a lot of love in this community, and you guys are doing really big things, and it's been nothing but love and support ever since.
Thank you. Johan.
All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I guess my journey to Branded started 2 years ago when I actually attended. I was just an attendee. I went through all the workshops. First of all, thank you, Jacqueline, and everyone that puts this together. I think this is phenomenal. It's definitely helped me quite a bit. And my journey, I guess, started off as an attendee and going through the workshop. And I thought, I didn't have my business set in place yet, but I had this idea, and it kind of pushed me over the edge to start the business. And I had traveled to a different province at the time and came back just last year. And I had met the BITS community and Hamza over there and Kyle. And that's kind of how I got involved. And it's been great for me. I don't know if I answered the question fully, but.
Well, we kind of heard a little bit about your journey to Branded there. And tell us a little bit about Solar, where are we? Renewly Solar.
Yes.
I found it really interesting when I looked at it.
Yeah, so Renewly Solar, we started off as a solar energy consulting company, and we would help homeowners get solar panels. It was very simple. We helped them online. We did tons of digital ads, and we would kind of meet them online, consult with them, and then connect them to a local solar installer. And I'm sure we'll get into pivoting the business because things have changed quite a bit in my business. But that's kind of what the foundation started off as. And now we're a fully certified installation and project management company in Halifax. So I'm actually in Halifax right now in the bubble. And it's been good. It's been a very stressful year. So I'm looking forward to talking about the stressful journey that I've been on in the last 12 months.
Touché. Ruth.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. So a little bit about my business. It's called Beauty and Brushes. We are a social beauty booking platform. So right now we have a website out, and we connect women of color to Black makeup artists, Black hairstylists, and now we've added lash tech as well. So individuals, women of color, would go on the platform and they could find a stylist that caters to their specific needs, basically filtering through a price, a location, a style, and rating to find a specific stylist that caters to their needs. I saw that there was a problem in the industry. It's always hard for me to find a stylist, especially when I moved to a new area. When I was in the, like right when I graduated university, I was like, oh, I want to do a little modeling. And I got into like the fashion industry, and I never had a Black makeup artist or a Black hairstylist ever do my hair and makeup. And I thought that was crazy. And I thought that there was a need to like expose the talented beauty professionals that we have out there. And that's kind of where the idea came about. So that's about Beauty and Brushes. BrandedTO. So I heard about BrandedTO last year. One of my partners actually applied for the pitch competition, and I was able to attend the event. And then we were also able to pitch in the competition as well, which was great. I thought the conference was amazing. I just think it's so great what you guys are doing, trying to help Black entrepreneurs, because we really do, like, starting off in any business, it's so hard, especially when you don't have mentors out there to show you the way, to show you what to do. It's like a big need to have someone out there that's been there already to kind of lead you and give you advice. So I think what BrandedTO is doing is just amazing. So yeah.
Thank you. Deandra.
Hi, I hope you guys can all hear me well.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So first I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so happy to be here. This is awesome. I love Branded. I missed the question because I was having some technical difficulties. So if you could repeat it for me, that would be great.
So just tell us a little bit about Empress Maine and how you found your way to Branded.
Okay, perfect. So Empress Maine is my baby. It is an online beauty supply that also carries a subscription box called Raw Box, made of items, raw goods made by women of color around the world internationally. I decided to get into this work because I realized that there was an empty void that women of color, particularly Black women, were experiencing in their shopping experience. And I wanted to fulfill that and make sure that they were represented, not only just represented, but they loved their experience, and the value that they put into themselves was also put into the experience that they were having as consumers. And that was something that I realized as well as lacking with my shopping experience being, they call it a hair junkie, a hair product junkie. So I experienced a lot of issues there, and I wanted to be able to solve those issues, and no one else was doing it, so I decided to. And my journey to Branded is kind of similar to Jalissa's. I first got into entrepreneurship just by, doing a lot of research, then having people that were close to me and mentors send me in the direction of different programs. I was in BizStart and I was also in Biz. And it really guided me to be around the people that I needed to be in to get to where I am today, to be guided, to learn the community and get to know all these great people that are here in this, that are fellow panelists today, and be able to really experience entrepreneurship to its fullest in Toronto. It's such a booming community. There's so much great people that have so much beautiful stories. And I got to meet a lot of those people at Branded when I attended last year. So it's been a great journey to Branded.
Good, thank you. Johan, what did this season reveal to you about your character?
Oh, that's a heavy one.
He's like, I told you we were going to go deep.
About my character. I guess I have no patience. I think I don't have any patience, but yeah, there's I guess my character is revealed, I guess, with just a lack of patience. And I've learned a lot about leadership this year, dealing with my team internally, lots of good and bad things, dealing with partnerships. And I guess one thing that I've learned is to be a lot more direct, and to really map things out, and be very clear with, partners, certain relationships that you're around. But yeah, I think that my character, I just need to be, I've realized that I need to be more upfront and more compassionate, and more patient.
Now, would you say because of all the pandemic that brought that to light more for you?
Yeah, I think that dealing with a lot of things, even outside of the pandemic, I had a death in the family. Like, my father passed away about a year ago.
Oh.
So right shortly after Branded. So that was huge for me, dealing with the business, going through COVID, not being in the same city, and also the BLM movement, being on social media. These things are just very stressful. You get stress coming from every angle. And I think that it wasn't just one thing, it was multiple things.
Okay. And Deandra, I'm going to pose that same question to yourself. What did this season reveal to you about your character?
And I'm thinking about all the things that 2020 has brought forward, and it's so much. I think the biggest thing I would probably have to say is that I was being authentic, but I wasn't being all that authentic. And I really realized that around I think like in the thick of the pandemic, like April, May, right when the whole Black Lives Matter movement kind of had an uproar, I was in the middle of pivoting Empress Maine and basically providing a referral service to get people the products that they needed. And that we didn't care on our site. We opened it up and gave people access to over 1,000 products to be able to request and then have it delivered directly to their home. And when everything happened, I didn't know how to express myself via social media. A lot of businesses were like saying nothing. And I was like, but I serve Black women, women of color and Black women, primarily Black women. And I wasn't sure exactly how to present how I felt in a business way. And I then realized like, there's business and then there's my community. And my community is very important right now. And our mental health is being affected by these images that are being spread like wildfire all across the globe. And I have to speak on it. I have to do something about it. And if that means that some people are going to feel uncomfortable because it isn't easy to talk about those things, then I have to shine a light in some way. And it really forced me to speak on how I felt in all realms of my life, whether it was business, whether it was personal. I have to realize that even though I was brought up in the Caribbean background where you have to, you know, be professional and be good and speak when someone's speaking to you. I had to say, no, you know what, there's a time when it's time to stand up for something. And I felt it was time to stand up for something. So I put out a fund for Empress Maine to be able to raise money and give back to the multiple people that unfortunately lost their lives due to police brutality. I started to share more on my social media how I felt, what people can do, what people can say, how to push forward the conversation, how to actually do something. I went to a protest. I just decided to stand in everything I believe authentically and not hold back because I have to have this perfect image and only speak on things that are supposed to look professional.
Now, did that happen for you right away? Did you feel compelled to speak out against what was happening in the world and also share your views right away? Or was there a moment where you had to digest everything and then choose your path that you wanted to go?
I had a lot of reflection. I think it took me I think everything happened like end of May and then got really big and loud around the first week of June. And I think the first week of June, I was like, I'm having these conversations with my parents, with my family, with my friends. I have to have these conversations online too, because a lot of my life is online. A lot of my conversations are online as well. So it's time to do something about it and speak about it and have that conversation there too. So it did take some time to reflect, to have personal conversations with the people closest to me. But I decided that if I want people to be on my journey, they have to understand the things that I believe in and the things that I represent and that are important to me as well.
And very necessary too.
Absolutely.
Jaleesa, how did you handle all of the noise? Because we've heard a lot of noise this year. 2020's it's worse than a dog barking outside. It's been a lot of noise happening. How have you dealt with that?
I've retreated. I was like, oh, everything shut down? Yeah. I don't have to see people? Excellent. I totally just like leaned right in. To the point where I was like, you can order your groceries online and just pick it up for free. What? Yes. So I think that was definitely my approach, was just like, a reminder that I am adaptable. And like, I think it was very interesting to see it while living it. Like I was watching myself while doing it. And so that's pretty much what I did with the noise. Was I stayed home. I, got closer with my family. I got closer with my core group of friends. I was journaling a lot. I just kind of, I was in bed. Like I rested, I exercised, I read a lot, I watched a lot, I listened to things, I continued to learn, and pretty much everything that I normally would do or was always on my I should be doing list, I started doing more of. Um, and then, we got a little break in the summer where things eased up a bit, and I'm a summer baby, so I had to be outside. We had a great summer for the first time in like a decade. So,
Good.
I was like, cool, I'm outside, follow protocol, but I'm outside all the time with my core people. And I think it was really that leaning into, the idea of you have to have a bubble. And I was like, cool, I know who's in my bubble. And COVID affected my family as well. We lost someone, and a few people actually have been really sick. So I really took it seriously, and it was odd because it's like it's a pain and it's a loss, but it really, like everyone else is kind of saying, it brought things, made the brighter and brought people closer, and there was healing involved in that. And so I just kept picking these things up and taking note, and I continue to reflect on it and try to keep doing, when I notice something goes right, I just try to like turn that up a notch every time. And then also I got a dog. I was like, I was supposed to go away. I'm like, I need to travel. And I was supposed to go away, and, I couldn't do that. So I was like, you know what, let me get a little buddy, let me get a little companion. And that should, help with all the chaos that's going on in the world. And I started another business as well. Hasn't launched, but I'm giving you guys the teaser. It's about to come out. And, if we cover everything you have, for the day, I hope I can, share a little more on it, but it is relevant to the Black community, which is why I am dropping a note.
Absolutely. Definitely. Ruth, where did you observe yourself drawing strength from during this time?
I felt like for me, I drew strength in just like my overall vision, like what I have as a vision for what I want what I want Beauty and Brushes to be, and where I want to be personally. I think that's where I got my strength from. I realized that like I felt like I was a very determined person, but like with everything happening with COVID and certain things in my business that I had to change that we're going to talk about because this is about pivoting. I realized that not that I wasn't as strong. I feel like I'm a strong person, but I realized that sometimes we think that we're so strong and that we can take on a bunch of things, when we do need to give ourselves a break. And that's kind of what I've learned about myself more, that like I need to give myself a break sometimes. Like the stress of COVID, job changes, like business changes kind of got to me. But like me having that idea that, okay, this is a vision that I want to have. This is the vision that I have for myself is what kind of brought me back into that self-determination that I usually feel like I go with. So that's what it was for me.
Definitely. It's funny. I just wrote a blog on being kind to yourself and taking that break. And especially when you're an entrepreneur and you feel guilty when you stop, you feel like, uh-oh, is in like I have downtime. Yeah, it's okay to have downtime. So definitely a good realization throughout the pandemic for sure. Johan, so at what point during the pandemic did you feel the need to re-strategize your plan for 2020 to pivot?
Right away. Right when it got serious, I knew that so I'm lucky when it comes to the industry that I'm in. It's a home renovation. It's an energy upgrade. So I can literally knock on someone's door and be like, hey, I just built you a solar proposal. This is what it looks like on the spot. So like you were saying, Kim, earlier, you had mentioned that you're so used to speaking to people face to face. Around 65 to 70% of my business, our revenue came from me knocking on doors, pitching the program, and helping them go solar. So that was a huge dent in our lead generation. So I had to quickly pivot, and I just used the resources that I have in front of me. And, you know, I tapped into certain people. I don't know if you guys know Sarah Jane. She's really big on Facebook. Tapped into that resource right away. I said, look, we're pivoting the way we advertise and market. We should get this going right away. And, you know, just networked a little bit. I said, let's meet, you know, every week. Let's put a Facebook campaign together and let's just launch and see how this goes. And it was horrible at first, but then it started to come in later on in the year. So I'm grateful that I did it. I took the risk. I figured everyone's going to be home. Everyone's going to be on their phones. So, you know, that's kind of, to answer your question right away. I knew that things were changing and we have to adapt. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready for that, right? And, you know, most of the time, you know, people are going to sit back and just relax. I think you got to be on your feet and just take the risks.
Okay. And so, Johan, with everyone staying at home now and electricity bills going up, has that really opened your audience's eyes to your business to make it more like I should really give it my ear?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, dealing with monitoring your systems, dealing with monitoring these things, I think there's this question as to how do I lower my consumption now that I do everything at home, right? So obviously solar comes into mind. There's other things that come into mind too. I think one thing that, you know, I focus on my clients now is like, I look at their past history in terms of energy consumption, and then I look at the last 12 months compared to the 12 months prior to that. And yeah, that's been big. That's been really big. And yeah, that's been huge for me.
Okay. And one last question, Johan. You had on your site, I saw that you mentioned government incentives for using solar energy. Has that changed? Have they updated that or increased it since people are now predominantly working from home?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Government subsidies, unfortunately, kind of govern the industry that we're in right now.
Okay.
And kind of, it's a lot more affordable when there's an incentive from a government. And it depends on who's in government. You know, that's why I've been moving from province to province. You know, I can do this digitally, but I figured being boots on the ground and being with my clients and with the team is much more important. So there is an incentive, and what will happen is they'll give you a check after the installation is done for up to like $6,000 to $10,000 to do this. And it's a part of a long-term plan to lower their carbon emissions. So move away from coal, you know, dirty fossil fuels, and move towards renewable energy. So they have a budget. It's kind of like a fixed budget, and there's only a few amount of people that can actually do it.
Okay, thank you. Deandra, one of the things I loved on your site was our COVID-19 response. And that was the first thing I saw when I went on. And that is such a direct message to say, here is our pivot. Here's what we can do for you. And I even noticed that you put on there that, you know, type in, so send us the product that you're looking for and the price that you usually pay. And then we'll have it to you potentially if you're in the GTA within 2 to 8 hours. And I thought, first off, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, how I be going to the store all this time and I didn't know this, because I could just be emailing you. So tell me, and I mean, I thought it was so profound that you were able to meet people where they were at during this time. What led you to pivot your business to that?
I took I think we went into lockdown the second week of March, right?
March 16th to be exact.
Right. So the second week of March, I was literally sitting there, I was like, okay, what am I about to do with my life? I have no idea. I'm lost. So I was like, the first couple days, I was like, all right, I'm gonna just Netflix and chill, get my mind to just relax, because this is a lot. Like Joseph said, it was very loud. And I started to think to myself, like, what am I going to be worrying about the most right now if I was somebody who had all these household things to take care of now that I'm sitting at home? Because that's what I started doing. I started cleaning up, started going through everything that I didn't want anymore, and started thinking about people who are really going through a lot during this time and what would they need. And I'm grateful to have a lot of friends that have kids, and they're like, I don't know how to do my child's hair. Their hair is a mess. What am I supposed to do? And I was like, people still need hair products and everything's closed. And I really had to look back over the framework that I built my business on. It was really on natural hair products and nothing more. But I realized a lot of people don't have the education on natural hair products, and that's why they still use things that have toxic ingredients. So I said, okay, I have to meet the people where they are so I can eventually teach them in the direction that they want to go. So I just decided to put it together. I recorded a video and made tweaks to it, contacted some of my suppliers and said, you guys are gonna give me the ability to be able to access all these products. They confirmed, and I put it out to the masses and thought, all right, well, let's just see how this goes. I think people really need things right now, especially Twitter was a great resource for me to see how upset Black women were that beauty supplies were not an essential business at the time. And I was upset too. And I was like, yeah, I have to definitely do something about this. And the response was great. People were very happy. I barely slept for the first 3 months, but it was all worth it because the messages I received, the smiles that I got, I wasn't able to really engage with the customers because I had to do contactless deliveries and really try and, you know, keep all safety measures in place. But the love, the appreciation that people gave just for thinking about what I would want and knowing that what I want, my needs are not unique to just me. They're most likely things that other Black women would want too, and to just give them exactly what they need.
So did you access any support systems to help you through those 3 months that was probably completely crazy?
Oh yeah, I had to. I had to see who I could get to help me. To be honest, my business was one of the first businesses to really pivot in my industry. All the businesses that are like the big beauty supplies, they had like a 6 to 8 week hold on when their online orders could actually come out. So I didn't really have a framework to go off of. I just had to like think quick on my feet, and I contacted family. I said, hey, I need help doing these deliveries because we have a lot and I can't do them all by myself. So who can help? And my sister tapped in, my friends tapped in, my cousins tapped in. I had to make sure I kept checking on the government website every day to make sure we were doing all the COVID guidelines, we were following all safety precautions, bought a lot of Lysol, had to go searching for hand sanitizers just to be as safe as possible, you know, cleaning everything, wiping down everything, and really just like learning how to access different vehicles in the city that I could have access to, not only for me, but for people that I needed to assist me at the time, to get things moving really quickly. A lot of research, a lot of working with other small businesses too, just to have conversations, to utilize any services that they could help me with. It was a lot of reaching out and making use of the communities that I existed in.
Good for you. Good for you. That sounds like I'm exhausted listening to just what you had to do.
Yeah, it was a lot. There was days I literally slept in my car because I just wanted to be able to make that 2 to 8 hour delivery time, because I get it, when you have a lot on your plate, having one less thing to worry about lightens your load. It really does.
Yes.
So I wanted to be able to give that to Black women because we have a lot on our plate, and especially with everything that was going on, the climate at the time, people had a lot on their mind. And I tried to keep people's mental wellness and health first, because I know what it's like to be in the place where you wish somebody would just consider yours.
Good for you. Good stuff. You're welcome. Whew, good. Woof, that's a lot of work, but that's good. We needed it. Ruth, so first off, I have to say, I love what you do. I went on your site and I'm like, how many times have I thought, where can I find a stylist? Where can I find a makeup artist that can work on my skin? And throughout the pandemic, my question to you is that, did you find that you had a surge of stylists and beauticians that were now reaching out to you? Because let's be honest, in our community, everything is kind of word of mouth, especially when it comes to the beauty industry. So we don't tend to want to sometimes level up, meaning professional website and an app and booking systems, because we're used to doing it how we do it and we get it done. So did you find that there was a surge when the pandemic hit for beauticians and hairstylists reaching out to you to get onto your platform? Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
No, actually, because the way when COVID hit, March 16th, I remember that date too, because I couldn't go anywhere.
Vividly.
But, yeah, very vividly. But when that date, when it hit, beauticians weren't allowed to actually like take in any clients. So, and that time we were also, like, me and my partners were also discussing whether or not we were going to, because we hadn't launched yet. We were gonna launch around that time, around when COVID happened. So we had to like pivot. We had to decide then and there that we were gonna change our launch date and wait until we knew a little bit more about what was happening. And for months, stylists were not able to actually take on clients. So it was like, we didn't actually have a big surge of people coming to us. We had less people coming to us because there was less bookings. The few bookings that stylists, and I'm always talking to stylists to see the changes that I can make to my platform and everything like that. Their stylists were still getting people messaging them to do things that they could do on their own without a client being there, like create a wig and then just send it to the client. So there wasn't like this need for like a booking. It was more so them giving their product, which would be a wig, to their clients. So it was more so a pivot for me to say, okay, we're not going to launch right now. We can't help stylists in the way that we want to help them. And we were already doing what we were doing before our platform launched through the Instagram page that we had. So the thing about our Instagram page is we had a lot of people viewing the stuff that we would post, but there was just not this like move towards, okay, like there was less people messaging us saying, oh, where can I find a stylist in this city? Where can I find a stylist here, a makeup artist here? There's less of that happening, but it gave us actually more time to work on our product and make it a better product for when we are ready to launch. So that's kind of what COVID did for us more so.
So when the stylists when they did open up, I want to say it was either July, I think it was early July, stylists were allowed to operate. Mm-hmm. How did the new product or the upgraded product that you were working on now, how did that turn out?
So for us, COVID was, I would say, us having to delay our launch was almost a better thing for us, because when that happened, we looked at our business in its whole, because at that time we were going to be launching with our app, just an app, and being able to say, okay, we're going to launch later, we told ourselves, okay, we're going to create a better product, and instead of us just hiring developers to do it, because we had developers that we had hired to work on our product, we're going to bring on a tech lead to look at what we've done so far and to actually be a part of our team, and just make sure that the product that we're going to launch is a good product. When we did that, it was a big pivot for us, because our tech lead at the tech lead that we have right now was able to say, okay, this product is, this app that you guys are going to launch isn't going to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. There's going to be a lot more obstacles for you guys. So it's better for you guys to have a website out. So now we have a tech lead that's working with us, and we've been able to create a website that we're actually going to we're onboarding people right now, like a bunch of stylists right now, but we haven't made it public yet. So we changed our whole launching goals and everything because of COVID. COVID kind of gave us more time to do that, actually. So it's actually been good. And since July, we have been onboarding people. We have been onboarding a little bit after July, like August, we've been onboarding stylists onto the new website that we have now. So yeah, it's been okay. It's given us.
Sometimes it's that extra time that makes all the difference. And, you know, I believe through this entire season, everything happens for a reason. And I know it's not pleasant for some, but I do believe that we're all going to come out a lot stronger than we went in. And that's for sure. Kind of the story of resilience. Jaleesa, I know you've got a whole new business venture, but before we get into that, how did you pivot with Tony Marlowe? I know that was already an online business that was already soaring, but how did the pandemic impact Tony Marlowe?
Yeah, so I mean, for anyone who forgot, because I realized I didn't say it in the beginning, it's boxer briefs for women and trans men, including a layer in one of our boxers where you can put a pad with wings, so you can be totally comfortable every day of the month. As well as we got like lounge bras, boy shorts, things like that. So the timing was very interesting. We had just relaunched our website at the beginning of March, and with, you know, all new everything. And we just had put in new inventory, which was our biggest issue all along. Is like, you know, we sell out before we can even fully finish stock, you know? So we were finally, there was like, wow, we have a new website that people are going to be able to navigate better, user friendly, and we had stock. So we already were seeing sales increase before the official lockdown. And then when it, you know, we actually was like, okay, everything's shut down. I had thought, you know, it wasn't going to go so well. We were going to take a lot longer to sell our products because everyone's losing their jobs. And especially, you know, a lot of our main customers are people assigned female at birth. You know, that wage gap is real, the gender equity. And then a lot of LGBTQ2S also working in gig economy and unstable, you know, employment. Not everyone, but, you know, there are higher percentages. So I thought, you know, it's just, oh man, it's gonna take a long time to move the product. But what ended up happening was we just sold out way quicker. The month over month, it just was like doubling. And that was because we were already online, people already knew our platform, and everyone was home. Everyone was home and bored and on their computers. And they're like, I don't have to wear a thong to work anymore. What? I can wear whatever I want.
Don't even have to wear one.
They don't have to wear anything if they want to, but if they want to, they could just be chilling in their boxers. So, you know, they were like perfect. It was like it was just like perfect timing in that sense. So on the one hand, it was great. On the other hand, when we were sold out, we met, you know, a bigger problem of we had purchased a bunch of new elastic bands, and they're sitting in India because we are finally able to start doing our first bulk order overseas, and they're locked down. We're locked down. Thank you. I mean, Branded helped along the way for sure. So, you know, it's just taking that time. But so here we were with like all this new demand, or like the increased demand, and, you know, website, and people are home and wanting to purchase. And I'm just like, so I can't make any more underwear because I can't get the rest of my elastic, or I can't, like the factories were closed. Right. So like factories in India were closed for a bit, then they were closed here. And then when they reopened here, we have there's a specific machine that we have to use to get the quality that we have. Not a lot of people have that machine. So there's only a handful of factories in the GTA that we can use. And then you have, you know, quality control. So, right, it makes it harder right there. But then once they opened, everyone was doing mask and are still doing mask. So I'm just kind of like, man, like this is so bittersweet. So that's where we're currently at, is just kind of, you know, balancing that and figuring out what's the best way to go, using different government programs and things like that, to see about how we can, you know, offset some of the increased cost with getting that delivery, you know, getting that inventory done, given the COVID changes. And we also, of course, started making masks. You know, from before COVID hit, I was kind of thinking to just add that to the product line because I just seen more and more people were using them as a fashion thing over here. And then like within the first week of, you know, COVID lockdown, I was like, I have old product, fabric at home that has our classic prints on them, you know, let's just do that and, you know, see what happens. And initially the team was against it because they were saying like, oh, it's going to look like you're profiting and capitalizing off of whatever. And I was like, you know, I hear you, but also people need masks. Like, you know what I mean? So on the one hand, I was a bit disappointed that I didn't follow my gut and just do it anyway. But on the other hand, it's, you know, something you're always learning as a leader is like that balance between taking the feedback from your team because you hire them because they know things you don't know, they can do things you can't do, and also trusting your gut and your intuition and your expertise. So I would say about halfway through the initial lockdown, so like maybe 6 weeks into the quarantine, we were finally then able to, I was like, nah, we're putting out the mask. Everyone is doing mask. It's okay. No one's gonna get backlash for it. And people sincerely need them. You know what I mean? And so those were the things we did was first we filled the demand. Then we just, you know, connected people and resources as much as possible. And then we put out masks. Some was for sale, some were for sale, some were for donation. And other than that, I mean, it's just been moving with and working with people in our community as much as possible, and you know, tapping into resources as they come along.
Julie, so one of the things that I'm pretty sure you remember the first time I met you that drew me to you was your mission to raise $1 million for suicide prevention. Mm-hmm. Now, has that elevated on your priority list since knowing through the pandemic, mental health, most days, most people's mental health is sitting on the cliff and looking off the cliff a lot of times. Yeah. So how does that showed up in your business in terms of that mission being, have you brought it higher up on your priority list? Because I know that is a goal that you want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I wouldn't say it moved higher. I mean, it's just kind of like stays there. Like that's just it's part of every move we make. And you know, as I've said many times, like moments where I don't want to do things, I'm like, well, I'm trying to do this big goal, right? So I wouldn't say that necessarily moved higher up on the list in that way, but I would say it started to look a little different. You know, I would have longer conversations with people I wouldn't normally, you know what I mean? Like I would miss being in the market, right? And so instead of being in the market, I was more personally hands-on in the DMs or an email and just talking to people. I was taking time to have private conversations and be like, it's okay, here's whatever resources we can do, like we're gonna get through this. And I was also just more like, yeah, yo, and sorry I'm getting like really comfortable, but like this is the realness, right? It's just like I was like, yeah, yes. So I'm struggling. Peace out, y'all. Like I'm gonna do what I can today, and that's that. And so I would see like weeks of like amazing productivity because I would just be like, haha, I'm on like, you know, we don't have to, no one's waiting for me. It's just like get it to you whenever I can. And like that took off a pressure from me. And I would be like, I can, you know, put all my energy and anxiety into just getting the work done. And then there would be weeks where I'm just like, yep, Netflix and chill. Yep. Mm-hmm. What? Domino's is 50% off? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what I mean? So it was like, I would say that's what the first 2 months kind of looked like. And then by month 3, it was like, okay, we're in it. And these were the things that have already been working from a pivot and you know, adapting standpoint. And now that we have a sense of like what the long term is going to look like, and I now understand what's going on in terms of specifically my business and manufacturing, what are the things we can do? And it just really became, you know, what can I do for my mental health, and what can I do to continue connecting people to resources with mental health? I hope that answers the question, but it wasn't like any clear specific thing. And you know, I was also really grateful that we did a campaign with TELUS, Stand with Owners, and the company, I think it was between TELUS and the digital company that shot everything for them. they decided to do a donation in June for LGBTQ2S, and they chose to donate it to Tony Marlowe, like to the company that we donate on our behalf. So they donated, you know, 2,500 to Friends of Ruby. And I mean, that just like made my whole, like everything, you know, and I was like, I'm glad that I'm continuing to amplify and advocate and just be open and talking about mental health, because I'm like, that was a very clear, direct path to me. I was like, talking about it, open book. People actually are listening and catching on, and they understand now like what's needed, and they're putting their money behind their mouth, and they're, you know, they're doing what they can. So yeah.
Good, thank you. I mean, obviously, I know it's a cause that's very dear to your heart, and for Talis to step up and be able to make that donation, it still keeps you feeling like, okay, I'm still working towards this mission of chipping away at it. So
exactly.
Good to know. Johan, how have you been minding your mind through this season?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Minding my mind. Just, I guess, I think Jalissa said something about, you know, knowing your bubble. And, you know, that's really important, especially during this time. Just speaking to mentors that I have, speaking to my family, and just, yeah, like I think those are the key things. And, you know, this was also brought up a few times, is being okay with just not doing anything and just kind of giving yourself a break. One thing for me, because I'm on the East Coast right now, is I have the ability to go into nature and just disappear, go off grid. So I've done that multiple times. Right? So I've done that, and that's something that's been helpful for me, is just kind of taking a mental break from everything, and just, you know, just going on short breaks, but also doing something, not just staying at home, but just exploring. And yeah, that's been huge for me.
Okay. Ruth, how has social media impacted your mental health during the season?
Social media. I guess with the whole BLM movement, that was kind of a toll, I think, for all of us, like just looking at what was happening, and like I guess what was revealed, because it's always been happening, but you just more, it's just, there's just cameras now that just show what's happening to people of color when it comes to police brutality. So that was like, I feel like that week was like, I was literally just always on social media. Like I was like, okay, I need to do work for my business, but I was just so invested in what was happening. So that did kind of have a toll on me, I guess, mentally. And then also having to keep up with my own social media for our business too, while dealing with the different changes that was happening with my business. Yeah, like social media has that effect on you, and it can be it's like for me, I have a big page on Instagram, so I have to be always on social media, but at the same time it's also distracting. So it's like this big thing that I'm dealing with. I have to always be on, but it's also distracting. I'll be on trying to post, and then I'll see something else that happened that has to do with police brutality, and I'm so invested in it, so invested in it. So I think it did have it did affect me mentally, for sure, that whole month, seeing the protests, just seeing everything, and in general, like the whole of COVID kind of had effect on me mentally. Like you feel, I felt stress, and I usually don't feel stress. Like I felt it in my body, especially in the beginning of COVID with everything happening. So yeah, that's how it was for me.
Okay. Deandra, what's next for Empress Maine?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So many things. I learned so much this year from my customers, because Empress Maine is feedback driven. So I often get the opportunity to have conversations with them one-on-one and talk to the empresses and the kings about what it is that they want to see next and what is it that they actually need. So we're working on a physical location right now. Hopefully that will be coming soon. And I don't want to have it be the primary or the typical experience that everybody gets at a typical beauty supply, just because.
Oh, we don't know what that is.
Oh, well, that experience is not the greatest for most Black women. I'm going to put it that way. And I also don't want to follow that experience, like that typical, like the layout, the way it goes. I really want to explore my creativity as well as the creativity of people on my team and mentors that I have that have been so helpful along the way, to be able to create something that women of color can really indulge in and feel comfortable in, and actually have a break from the world. So I'm working on it, it's in the works. And then also, we're really trying to build out Empress Main's website to be a lot more educational. So right now, under each post, under each product, you can watch a video that explains exactly how to use the product, but we're gonna integrate way more into the actual framework of the website so that you know exactly what you're looking at, you know exactly what it is, if it's a Black-owned product, if it's not, if this product has toxins, because we've opened up our platform now to carry products that do have toxins, but we're still primarily natural. Majority of our products are still natural. And we want to help people differentiate that and know the difference, and also learn like why you should choose this product over that one, and so on and so forth. So a lot of great things, but also just prioritizing the experience of Black women, because we give, I think it's $1.6 billion for the beauty industry every year. So if we're giving that much money into it, we need to be prioritized. And I'm looking forward to creating that space and making that a priority for us.
Good stuff. Jaleesa, I know you're itching to tell us what's next for Tony Marlowe.
I was actually just hyped for Deandra, but I'll definitely take the opportunity. Thank you. In terms of Tony Marlowe, there will be a big change, and I can't speak to it yet, the Tony Marlowe aspect. Shameless plugs, we're gonna have a sale soon. We got lots of beautiful masks. You should enjoy, check it out. But in terms of the new business, and just because this is family, basically I'm going to tell you something that's not ready yet, but please, hopefully you can still follow me and just have the patience. The post will come very soon. But in the early years of me even starting Tony Marlowe, I had the same question that we all have: where can I find the Black owned blank, the version of whatever? And I was just like, man, I wish there was like, an app that you can put on Google, and then anytime you Google something, it'll just put the Black owned stuff at the top. And so I talked to one of my developer friends at the time, and he was like, yeah, Google, they're not going to allow that. But, maybe you can, I'm going to see if there's other technology that can do it. And I was like, cool, great. But that was just starting Tony. So, we didn't really follow up, worked on Tony Marlowe. And then, at the end of last year, it was just really on my heart again. And I was like, I got to do this. There's got to be a way to do this. And now, Google Chrome has extensions, and I use them all the time. And I was like, that's the way. So I got in touch with one of my good friends who I think you all might know, but I won't drop his name now. I'm thinking out loud, guys. Sorry, bear with me. But anyways, he does a lot of our tech stuff. And I was like, hey, this is my idea. I would like to partner with you. What do you say? And he said, okay, great. Sounds good. And then we started working on it. And then everything happened with George Floyd. And I was like, the timing of this is just it needs to happen now. We were just having passive conversations, and I was like, no, we need to move on it now. So what it is the business is called Noir Now, and it's a Google extension. The extension is going to be called Shop Black First. And basically you just go and download it, and anytime you go into Google, whatever you type in, you don't have to remember to put Black owned anymore. You just Google. And if there is a Black owned option, our icon will glow and it'll drop down. You click it and there will be a list that drops down telling you of all the Black owned businesses. And then you can also add, there'll be a suggest button. So if we're missing something, you can just put that in there as well. And now you don't have to think about it. You can actually support Black like effortlessly.
I don't have a tambourine, but if someone had a tambourine around,
I mean, Deandra,
this would be the moment.
It doesn't look like it. I appreciate you. So we're about to launch it. The technology is going to be ready in the next few weeks. So if you can, follow us. There's no post yet, but I promise you it's coming. It's called Get Noir Now on IG, and I think we also got Twitter. Noir with an E, the actual way that means Black. And you can go to our website. It's live now. It's called Noir Now. And you can just drop in your names, share it with your friends. So if you can get onto the email list, so that as soon as we launch, you'll be there. And when people are Googling things, bam, they can choose you.
Lovely. Well, you already know I'm a fan, so amazing. Great job. We definitely need that. Like, definitely need that. Thank you for being at the forefront of necessary change. Johan, what's next for Renewly?
I would love to say that I have an actual plan, but
it's okay.
I think my plan is to. I have a couple goals. My plan is to build a small installation team out here in Nova Scotia and the East Coast. Expand into the Atlantic provinces, so Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick. And I also want to start a social aspect to the business where we have a fund. Every single homeowner has the opportunity, every single homeowner that purchases a solar system from us, a portion of our revenue will actually go towards a community project in an Indigenous community. So I'm still working on that right now. I'm trying my best to figure this out. I have a couple partners that I'm thinking about. I've been meeting with them. But I think that, with everything that was going on this year, I really started to read about environmental racism and really start to see and learn about how these corporations they just don't care about people. And there's so much pollution happening. And even before that, I just really wanted to have a social aspect to the business. So that's kind of that's one big goal that I have is starting. Hopefully I can build a microgrid community, and even if it's partially funded by Renewly Solar, I would love that. Another big thing and goal for me is standing out in this industry where it's very white. It's very white. It's bad. Like, I go to all the solar conferences, and it can be intimidating for me. It's an insecurity of mine in this industry, in this space. But I have the opportunity to kind of diversify our company, and I'm really trying to go out of my way to hire people of color, hire Black people, and hire just be different, and I think that that's a huge goal of mine now. And after going through these interviews, I start to realize like how people of color in my industry that I'm in are treated, and they have all these credentials, but for some reason they're like kind of begging me for a job, and it's like it was really eye-opening, kind of just going through interviews. And yeah, so that's a big part of my next year's plan. But I have a really big goal, and I'm just reinvesting everything back into the business so I can get to that point.
Excellent. I love that you spoke about environmental racism, because that is a very real topic that is not discussed. Definitely a taboo conversation.
Absolutely.
Last but not least, Ruth. What's next? I know you just started, baby girl, but what's next? If you do have anything.
Oh yeah, we do. So it's not only we've always been pre-signing people up onto the platform before we launched because we wanted to make sure that we had like a base. So our next steps is to just continuously listen to our target market, which is stylists, and to change our features, the features that we offer on our platform right now, to them, and just achieving product market fit, essentially, like growing, just continuous growth based off of our features, like having people continuously come on our platform and basically register themselves as a stylist or register to find a stylist without solely based off of the features that we offer and the need that we're solving for them. So it's just about us like continuously adding features and listening to our stylists. That's our next step, achieving product market fit, essentially. Yeah.
Okay. Well, keep up the great work. I know that your platform is definitely going to grow because it is it's diverse. It's continuously evolving. And I think a lot of people have gotten the message that you have to get right online.
Yeah, you do.
Like you have to. If you don't get your business right online, I don't know. Right? So great job. So, I mean, this was such a great conversation in really just talking about the real. And that's really what the resiliency is all around. Everyone's had to pivot through this season and everyone pivoted in a different way. For some people, their businesses went up, they soared in it to the point, for example, with Tony Marlowe, where you're like, I can't get my elastics, people. Like, I really want to sell you these underwear, but I can't get my elastic, to someone sleeping in their car, Deandra, with, making all these deliveries and really showing up for your community. So I want to thank you all for everything that you continue to do and how you continue to make your mark. And I had to say that, of course. I think that this year has definitely all taken us through a very organic experience, a one in a lifetime, right? I can't go back to say my parents or my grandparents have ever experienced anything like this. So one thing we want to be mindful of is we want to just be kind to ourselves. And I'm really saying that out loud, really for myself as well, because me personally, I have struggled through this season, and it was more so of a learning curve where it's okay to stop sometimes and take a break, reset, and then restart. So I think that's a huge lesson through 2020. And on top of that, as an entrepreneur, we know that at the forefront, we always have to have perseverance, preparation, and purpose. And if we're navigating and trying to control our narratives from that place, we're always going to be successful. But making sure that we take the time necessary for us and that our feelings are valid. So thank you. I was very honored to share the space with you all today. I feel blessed. And once again, thank you, Jacqueline, if you're listening, if you're around, I know you are somewhere, for this opportunity to return to host this panel. And I mean, if anyone wants to follow me, you can follow me on all of my platforms at Kim Niles. It's KYMNILES. That's .com or any social media platform. And please follow Make Your Mark, where we showcase professionals of color and their stories of resilience. And that's makeyourmark.ca. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. And a big thank you to you, Kim, for coming back and hosting this amazing panel with our Branded family, our veterans who have supported Branded, who have participated in Branded, and who continue to share their knowledge. I just want to remind everyone who's online right now that we do have another session coming up. It starts at 7:30. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be right back with our next panel, or our next discussion. It's going to be on client satisfaction. And the link is in the chat window. Vanessa has provided that. So take a look and join us back at 7:30. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.